of the 4-minute countdown. Now there's when they're allowed to enter. So she has 2 minutes to get outside of a line that's perpendicular to the starting line. The starting line being between the orange flag on the committee boat and the red mark that we see her passing now. She's to go out past that line. It looks like she's going to make it, Dobbs. Sometimes the other boat can hold them out, but boat 5 was a little bit late as well. So both boats getting themselves caught over to the left and not on time at all.
Scotty Dixon, Anna Tunnicliffe, was she inside there? Not where she should have been?
You got it, Dobbs. The prep signal, the attention signal for the start was, the horn went up and the flag went up, and we looked up and we went, okay, it's 35 seconds for the first pair to enter, and we looked up and the blue boat was nowhere to be seen, and sure enough, that was Anna Tunnicliffe. So she was penalised for not being outside her end at the 4-minute signal. So the umpire's flying a blue flag. She was able to enter, I'm fairly certain of that. So now she's still got a little bit of work to do to get out of jail, but definitely an unforced error there, Dobbs.
So presents an opportunity for Mike Buckley to take control of this pre-start. They've got 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go. What do you see down there? Is there any favored side to that pre-start box?
Well, if I was a weatherman, I would probably head left because the clouds to the right look pretty ominous, I think, Dobbs. I would say breeze-wise, the flags on the pier are definitely still left. But, man, it's patchy going upwind. I would say it's treat it like any light air race. Try to lead back to the start and force your opponent to do the extra manoeuvres and pick your moments. So right now it's 1:45 to the start, and Tunnicliffe's done a great job of preventing Buckley from tacking back onto starboard. So Tunnicliffe carrying that penalty, it'll be interesting to see if she can hold Mike Buckley out here and prevent him from getting a good start, Dobbs.
Yeah, copy that, Scotty. Meanwhile, up here at the pier end, we're looking at this wonderful tall ship here on the right, flying that American flag. I can't quite tell. I don't know if that's Pride of Baltimore or one of the Pilgrims. I don't know my tall ships that well, but it's certainly a wonderful sight up here, and a great contrast between the old and new. 1 minute left to go. Scotty, can we hear can we see anything down there? Anything good?
Yeah, Buckley just sailed out and around Anna. Anna got a little bit slow, and the conditions, the breeze just literally breezed out again, and that meant that the boat that was able to keep a little more speed was able to sail away and gas Anna. And so it looks like Buckley leading the charge back to the pin. Now he just has to make sure that he's not early. 25 seconds to go now. He does look a little early, and Tunnicliffe pushing hard, and she's hooked him. So Buckley tacking away to port. So it'll be Anna Tunnicliffe starting at the pin. I don't know if she can lay. If I were Buckley, I would have tacked back onto starboard there to prevent her from starting. But anyway, it looks like Tunnicliffe's going to start on the pin on port. She's tacking now, and now Buckley comes back. So, yeah, that was the starting signal, and really poor tack by Mike Buckley on the starting signal, and Anna Tunnicliffe just carrying her manoeuvre with more speed, and here comes the cross now. Anna not even paying attention to Buckley because she knows she's got the cross. She had more speed the whole time. And I saw Anna and her team looking up the racetrack, discussing which side that they wanted, and Anna and her team elected that they wanted the left. So that's what they've got, Dobbs.
Well, copy that, Scotty. We might throw back to you here, if you don't mind, just giving us continual narration of the pre-start action, because that's where the action is now. up here at the head of the race course with Annie and I. The action is the flies, but we'll we'll let you take us through some more pre-start. Who do we have up next?
So next up, it looks like we have Tiller and Sested from Denmark. And again, very light. Both boats have entered correctly. And looking up the track, Buckley's picked up a bit more pressure on the right. But again, it's literally veins of pressure running down the track. And where you attack and on which shift you're on is absolutely everything. I can see Anna. Okay, there you go. There's a telling signal. Anna coming back on board. She didn't like what she saw, and rather than conceding the big loss in distance to Mike Buckley, she tacked well to leeward. So that tells me Mike Buckley now in the driver's seat, and there you go. There's the first lead change in that match. So Anna Tunnicliffe and her team picked the left. They chose the left, and the first shift went right, and Mike Buckley cashed in. Stand by.
Well, can you give us a little bit more narration of what's going on in the pre-start there with Sehested and Tiller? I mean, this is a pretty important match.
Yeah, Sested on starboard, they've already had one dial-up and now into their second dial-up. 2:35 to go now. Sested tacks away and Tiller follows. So basically that was 2 or 3 manoeuvres and Will Tiller out of jail. Both boats now on board and heading towards the safety zone to the right of the boat.
Well, thanks for that, Scotty. We may pick it up here as we see our first pair approaching the top mark, which, Annie, is the white mark. Is that right?
I believe we have all 4 groups coming to the white mark.
Yeah, I don't recall that we had any change of course flags for that start, so I can't verify 100%, but that would be my guess. Over.
Okay, so we have 2 boats coming right at the pier here, and that's Tunnicliffe and Buckley. Buckley on boat number 5. Believe that's the boat that we see to our left with the dark shirts. The girls on the boat to the right. The dark shirt boat, Buckley, is ahead, and they're trying to make it around this top mark. The white mark is where they're coming. The course configuration is as such. They go around this. They start. They come around this white mark. They leave it on their right side. They go down to the white mark down by the starting area. They leave that one on their right side. They come back up here, do it again, and then they finish. But we have 4 different groups racing, and sometimes they overlap. Look at Buckley. Wasn't going to make the mark, Dobbs, so he has to tack onto starboard and then tack again. We'll see if Anna can make it. He's going to try to give her bad air, and it looks like right now she won't make it if he tacks on top of her. We have seagulls that want our lunch. Okay. A little bit of breeze here, a little squirt of wind. It was a tad bit lighter. Anna struggling to make it around the mark. Tacking twice or turning twice is very slow. So they're trying to make it around this mark without turning twice. Watch the crew work as they hoist the
How about a round of applause for Mike Buckley? Mike Buckley,
defending
champion of the Grade 2 Invitational here. First time around the mark. Really good set.
Very beautiful set, and there goes the girls' set. Another big blue spinnaker. Another nice set. Good speed as well. As Buckley hits some waves, the spinnaker collapses, and we'll see what that does. It gives the girls a little bit of a gain, but not enough. Still trying to find the wind, these 2 boats. We're going to go back down and see if Scotty's down by the starting line and can give us some insight.
So we'll go back to our colleague Scotty Dixon down there in the pre-start area. Scotty, told us what happened between Sehested and Tiller.
Yeah, Dobbs, great lead back by Will Tiller. He got his execution a little bit wrong in the last 40 seconds, and Sested was able to get onto port, which gave I think Shested might have gained, but I'm sure you're talking about it. But look at the hole at the top of the course. The Spinnaker's just hanging limp. So Shested now tacked back onto Port. Tiller looking good now. So it's changing by the second, and it just depends on when you look up, Dobbs.
Well, copy that. Those minefield conditions are coming back back on the track here. What about the next pre-start? We've got Hardesty and Wilson, right? Two CMRC alumnus there battling it out.
Yeah, Hardesty and Wilson. It's Hardesty on your right, coming in from the pin end, and he's far enough to windward. He's been able to tack onto board. He'll probably roll over the top of Don Wilson from this position. Don has done a nice job actually, but Hardesty's going to come down now and take his transom. Getting very, very light here, Dobbs. You know, these boats are not particularly powerful boats, so in this breeze range, it's really all about minimizing maneuvers and to keep your boat speed up. So the teams are beginning to move very quietly, very delicately around the boats. Dobbs?
Copy that, mate. And we're looking on the horizon to the north and the dark clouds up there. We can't help but think that's going to have some effect on the sailing conditions. But meanwhile, the match race action continues. I mean, the boats are moving, and there's big spreads here, so there's lots of potential gains and losses. Who do you like there from Bill and Don? Who's doing well there in the pre-start?
Well, 2 minutes to go now, and there's still Don Wilson going for another circle. I think it'll be all about who's back first, and Don Wilson almost doesn't have enough speed to jibe here if he wanted to, so it looks like Hardesty's going to take that initiative, which, knowing Bill, that's what I would expect. So Hardesty hanging low now, Don Wilson doing the right thing, which is to maximize the separation to windward and push from above. So 125 to go now, and Hardesty with a massive lift, so he's way above ley line, which puts Don Wilson miles above ley line. Like the boat end is heavily favoured, but again, it's just this very light spot on the course. There is, again, one of those helicopter puffs off to the left of the course. If you can see where that blue and white ferry is motoring, just to his left side, to me that looks like very good pressure. So these are not the best conditions to start a race in. I would expect a split from this. It's going to be Hardesty starting to leeward. I think Don Wilson will have to tack away and start at the boat. And the puff is coming in from the left. My money's on Hardesty. Dobbs?
Well, thanks for that, mate. We're going to narrate Will Tiller and Nikolai Sested. They're at the top of the track here with a little bit of pressure. Annie, what do you think?
Well, this is really tight racing. It looked like Tiller was way ahead, but he's on port. He's giveaway boat. He's going to tack right on top of Sehested there. He came back before he got to the ley line just to ensure and make sure positive that he rounds first. There they go again, matching tack for tack. Whoa.
Very close there, ladies and gentlemen. Very close. What are the umpires going to say on that?
Number 7.
Green flag from the umpires. I don't know how you could get any closer, Annie.
No, it was about they're still luffing up, and they're saying one is not keeping clear. Umpires are a little bit out of position to see what we're seeing. But
so how about a round of applause for this match race action? The Danes coming around first, taking the lead from the favored Kiwis.
But there is a wrap in the
but it's not over yet, folks.
Nope. Will Tiller, the Kiwi, the youngster, with his semi-professional crew, doing a great job coming around, and lower and faster. They're almost on the inside there. Great action at the top mark. Here they go, matching jibe for jibe. And if they pull this off, they're going to be almost on the ley line, which means they won't have to jibe much more unless the wind shifts.
Well, now that the umpires are a little out of earshot, I'm going to give you my take.
Well, watch, though, because 7 has the right to luff them, and if they have an overlap, that's exactly what they're going to do.
But over here, when Sested luffed them, the umpires were completely out of position.
Couldn't see it.
They may have, and then the protocol says that if you're out of position and there's a Yankee flag, they have to green flag.
Yep. Yankee flag being the protest flag raised by the boats. The umpires cannot make a call unless the sailors themselves are asking them to. So if nobody asks them for a call, nothing happened. But they were asking on both boats, and both boats were really being aggressive at this top mark. And Sehested came out ahead on that situation. If they can put their nose in there when the other boat's tacked, that gives them the rights to be there, and that's what the umpires were going by. We're going to go back to Scotty now and see what he sees down on the bottom end of the course. Scotty from New Zealand, Scotty Dixon, is our third announcer here. He's out on the water, and he's ready to give us some information that we can't see.
So Scotty Dixon down there in the pre-start area. We had a big reversal up here at the top with Nikolai Sested coming at you right now in the lead ahead of Will Tiller. But what's going on in the pre-start action in that final match between Laurie Jury and Taylor Canfield?
Well, I can't claim to have seen the action at the top mark, but I can tell you right now, Will Tiller's ahead of Sested. So if Sested passed Tiller, then Tiller's passed Sested again. The action down here was all on the bottom mark, and that was Anna Tunnicliffe and Michael Buckley. Buckley got very slow towards the bottom. Tunnicliffe came in on port with a ton of pace. Couldn't quite get around the outsides, around in front, but certainly the pressure was on for both teams. Late drops by both teams of the Spinnaker, and a lot of shouting, a lot of flags, a lot of action, and the umpires ended up assessing a penalty both ways. So Anna Tunnicliffe was still carrying a penalty from the pre-start, and she definitely got in the thick of the action there at the bottom mark, but she is still behind with a penalty outstanding. And the pre-start right now, Jury and Canfield, and it looks like Jury trying to lead back with a minute 15 to go, and still pretty light down here. Jury to windward, actually. So Laurie Jury desperately trying hard to avoid Taylor Canfield getting the hook. In the meantime, Will Tiller and Sested around the leeward mark, both on ports. Will Tiller looking okay. He probably still retains his 1 to 2 boat length lead. Laurie Jury now comes bow up with 40 seconds to go. So Taylor Canfield must have hooked him there. It'll be interesting to see what Laurie Jury does from this position. He's put his bow down. He's trying to jibe. He's jibed onto starboard. I don't know if I see a flag from Canfield, but it looks like he got away with it. So it's going to be Laurie Jury starting at the pin ends and Canfield starting at the boat, but both boats very, very light. Stand by. Just absolutely breathed out at the top of the course again. Here's the start of match number 4. Here's the starting signal. Pretty even start, Dobbs, with Laurie Jury to leeward. Back to you.
Well, thanks for that, Scotty. We got some action here at the top. Mike Buckley, boat number 5, blue and white CME Group Spinnaker, if they can get that hourglass out. Very tough conditions out here, so, leaders are still nervous. They've got to get through the minefield, as we call it, the patches of light air. We've got 4 boats up here, but actually only 2 are sailing each other. Mike Buckley's opponent is just now coming in. That's
number 4.
Yes, boat number 4.
He's racing against boat number 4. These 2 are racing against each other, 6 and 3. 6 is Wilson, Hardesty, boat number 3. So Hardesty over here on the right. I'm sorry, on the left, we can see his name on the mainsail. That's Don Wilson. Let's give him a big hand. He's the guy that founded this Chicago match race. Big Fish jumping right behind him. I don't think they saw that, but we've got Hardesty racing against Wilson, and then Buckley against Tunnicliffe. But as we see, super light air, lots can happen.
Sorry. So Don Wilson, very tricky maneuver there, eh, Annie? I mean, that jibe set in very light air, getting over to that side.
He obviously wants to jibe and get over here quickly. He's trying to protect what we're looking at as the right side, and they call it the left when they're looking upwind. That's right. He definitely wanted to fight for that. Again, he's racing against this green spinnaker. The yellow and the green are racing against each other, but the blue and the blue are racing against each other, and they've obviously passed this second boat, and that's what happens sometimes in this light air. There goes another set, nice set, quick spinnaker filled, and bam, right into a jibe. They had a beautiful mark rounding, and they actually have some good speed coming into this mark. They have a long way to catch up, but again, anything can happen. We've seen it over and over and over again.
Well, it's blue on blue, so Mike Buckley with a blue and white spinnaker. There to the left of your screen is with the CME Group spinnaker in boat number 5. He's racing against the other blue and white spinnaker, boat number 4, Anna Tunnicliffe. There's a pretty substantial difference there. Now, Bill Hardesty is behind Don Wilson. Bill Hardesty in boat number 3 with a green and white new edge spinnaker. Wilson ahead to the right in the yellow and white Urex spinnaker. Very light wind here. The wind is shifted back counterclockwise to becoming a little bit more out of the south. But the boat still can't lay the finish. Now look how Mike Buckley is putting his bow up.
He's sailing a lot hotter angle, trying to get some speed and make sure he gets between Anna Tunnicliffe, the other blue spinnaker, and the finish, because we keep saying it. The wind's shifty, it's changing, different pressure, but if they're too far separated, they won't have the same breeze. Even if he loses something to get in front of her, it's worth it, because he wants to make sure that eventually, if she brings some breeze with her, he'll get it as well. Over on the right, that yellow spinnaker, that is Don Wilson, a founder of the Chicago Match Racing Center, which is sponsoring this event. Is still in first place. Looks like he's got good speed. But over here, coming into the top mark, we have boat number 7 and 1, and that's Sehested and Tiller. Sehested got the lead back. We're going to go to Scotty really quick. He wants to explain something.
Yeah, Scotty Dixon, explain to us. We're watching Nikolai Sehested come around the top mark now with a very slim one-length lead on Will Tiller. Apparently there was a lot of action at the bottom of their first downwind leg.
Yeah, well, there were a couple of lead changes on the first downwind leg. Will Tiller led narrowly around the bottom mark, and then he stretched his lead out to maybe 4 or 5 boat lengths, and then the breeze shut off, came in from the right, and all of a sudden there was a very close match race again. Chested was to windward on starboard. Will Tiller, I still can't quite believe what I was watching, but he tacked onto port, and all of us on the chase boat out here, we all called it, and Will Tiller had no chance of clearing, and so that's why he was penalised. But there's the pass by Tiller downwind again. Is that what I'm seeing, Dobbs?
Oh, that's right, Scotty. We're watching Will Tiller roll over Nikolai Sehested. I think there's been, 5 lead changes in this match?
Yeah, at least. And there's the first flash of lightning off to the north. Sky's looking very ominous. But yeah, Will Tiller incurring a penalty for a port starboard, and again it was a little bit like his incident yesterday. He looked like the gymnast running up to the vaulting horse and just missed the end of the springboard, and it was really an unforced error, and but it looks like Tiller in the lead coming down on the last leg. Dobbs?
Sorry, Scotty, we're just listening to our event director, Mary Ward, explain that at the end of this flight. We're going to have a break in the action to see what's going on with this Thunder Cell to the north. But explain to us. So Will Tiller is in the lead with a match with Nikolai Sested, but Will has a penalty on. How's he going to shed that before getting to the finish?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. Right now, I would say he does not have a lead big enough to do that, but it's very light air. So my guess would be you can expect to see Tiller begin to overtrim his spin